Haley, Lynn and Dane, Paul, Laura, and Terry. On behalf of the entire Concord Police Department and the law enforcement professionals that are here today, I extend our most profound condolences. To Jason's extended family and friends, my fellow officers past and present, and to the many public officials and community members, thank you for being here to honor a great young man. I'm honored to share a few memories and stories about Jason, a man who followed through on his dream, a dream to be of service to others. Jason and I first met in March 2019. He was mature for his age and demonstrated a strong moral code. He clearly wanted to be a police officer for the right reasons. Jason didn't want to be a cop to resolve some sort of curiosity for a few years and then move on to do something else. No. Jason was ready and willing to commit his life to a career of service to a community he barely knew. He wanted to make Concord a better and safer city for everyone. Something else that stood out about Jason was how well he understood the distinction between the letter of the law and the spirit or intent of the law. And that's an important characteristic of officers who use sound judgment and proper discretion when carrying out their duties. It didn't take long to determine he was someone we wanted. Actually, he was someone we needed to be on our team. Jason checked all the boxes that police chiefs are looking for and every good citizen is looking for in a cop. Jason exemplified what our profession is about, and he embodied our core values of competence, courage, integrity, leadership, respect, and restraint. Jason's peers describe him as a perfect teammate. He'd make sure those closest to him were in a happy mood. And if they weren't, he'd annoy the heck out of them until they cracked a smile and loosened up. You have to understand that in order to navigate through a 30-year career in law enforcement, you need to have a sense of humor. Jason was good at dishing out the jokes and equally good at taking the brunt of them. On the day of Jason's swearing in, just outside my office, Jason was told that it's customary that he had to blow his whistle as soon as he finished reciting his oath of office. Now, of course, there is no such custom. My assistant Cheryl, who administered the oath, was also in on the joke. As the two of them finished, Cheryl just stared at him, waiting for Jason to make the next move. The confused yet determined look on Jason's face as he began to pull out that whistle was priceless. Now, luckily for Jason, someone stopped him from blowing that whistle and saved him from further embarrassment. At the end of every shift, Jason volunteered to deliver the mail from the David District office at the mall to headquarters downtown. It wasn't until much later that his coworkers found out he did this so that he could clock out much closer to home. Needless to say, Jason was also very smart. Now, there's one story in particular that I'd like to share with you that exemplifies Jason's character. We have a commendationship program that we use to recognize and reward actions that go above and beyond what's expected of an officer. Some examples: an officer who changes the tire of a stranded motorist, an officer who pays for a motel room in order to shelter a battered woman and her children so that they'd be safe, or something as simple as donating a pint of blood during a global pandemic because the supply is critically low. Cops do these things all the time. And it's not for the recognition, but rather out of a sense of humanity, duty, and service. During Jason's short time with us, he earned 6 commendation ships, of which he was so very proud. And here's the story of how we feel he earned his 7th. In September, Jason investigated a theft from a business at Concord Mills. A citation was issued and the suspect was soon released from our custody. Later that same night, someone broke into the mall after hours and burglarized several businesses. The next morning, when the crimes were discovered, Jason was sent to investigate. After relentless follow-up, he determined that the same suspect who he arrested the day before was responsible for the later burglaries. Warrants were obtained, and the information was disseminated to the troops, and it was really good police work. In response to what Jason had done, Lieutenant Ray Gonzalez issued Jason a commendation ship, not realizing that the investigative effort was more of a team effort. So the next day, Ray came to work and found a handwritten note that was wrapped around a commendation ship with a rubber band. And the note read, "Thank you, but I didn't earn this. Hold on to it for me until I have." Signed, Shuping. Jason embodied what Irish philosopher Sir Edmund Burke called a good man. Burke wrote, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Today we pay tribute to a good man who did something, a good man who stood for something. Jason and Caleb confronted that evil and did so without hesitation. They made the decision to head toward potential danger, a risk every brave officer does on behalf of their community, and most of the time for someone they've never met. For someone they've never met. Consider that for a moment and let it sink in. Jason paid the ultimate sacrifice for confronting evil on behalf of complete strangers. And Caleb came close to doing the same. Cops like Jason, cops like Caleb, cops like Paul and Kyle will do everything possible to protect you, even when doing so places their lives at risk. And that's part of the virtue of being a cop. To our community and neighbors here today, we thank you for your loving support during what is a very difficult time. We are your guardians, your partners, and we need your caring support now and in the days, months, and years ahead. We work best when we work together, and on behalf of the Concord officers here, we know of your support, we feel it, and are blessed by it. To my fellow officers, we will not forget what Jason did, who he was, and what he stood for. The best way to honor him and his memory is by serving our communities the way he would have, with professionalism, compassion, a sense of humor, a call to service, and an unwavering courage in the face of danger. We may never be asked to make the ultimate sacrifice that Jason made, but we can strive to match his dedication and sense of duty. I know these past few days have been tough, and it will likely be tougher in the days, weeks, and months ahead. Your bravery and strength are commendable. But let's not deny that we are all hurting and we are all vulnerable. Like many of you, I've been riding a roller coaster of pain and heartbreak since Jason's death. But through the tears, I know I speak for many here when I say, I'm proud to have had the honor to know Jason the cop, who was also a loving husband, a beloved son, and a cherished brother. And I'm proud of Jason's service and what he has done for this community. Together, regardless of the uniform you wear or the insignia it bears, we're unbreakable. So continue to lean on each other and continue to check in on each other, because having someone's back in our profession means more than showing up at their traffic stop. Lastly, to my law enforcement brothers and sisters, take comfort in knowing that we have one more guardian angel watching over us. As of today, Jason's unit number 4434 is officially retired and will always serve as a reminder of his commitment and ultimate sacrifice for our community. So let's take a moment. Let's take a moment now to stand and celebrate Jason's life and service. Thank you. You can be seated. One last thing. Haley, Paul, Lauren, Terry, Mom and Dad, Jason will forever remain a member of our family, and so will you. Death may end a life, but as noted by playwright Robert Anderson, it does not end a relationship. Jason's legacy, his compassion, and dedication to public safety that led to his sacrifice will never be forgotten. And you are and will always be a member of the CPD family. May God bless you, Jason. God bless your family. God bless your fellow brothers and sisters, and watch over them as they continue your work here on earth. Thank you.